Brigsby Bear. Pinocchio fights for what's right without Jiminy Cricket. So, I'm going to talk about Brigsby Bear today, a film I've seen a couple times that's pretty unique and that I really enjoy. It's kind of a coming of age in a weird way, comedy, drama. Came out in 2017. Runtime is an hour and 37 minutes. It was directed by Dave McCavey. I can't even look at my own notes. What's going on there? Sorry. I can't even read my own notes. Written by Kevin Costello and Kyle Mooney, who also stars in it. Other folks that are acting in the movie. Jorge Lindbergh Jr., Matt Walsh, Michael Watkins, Michaela Watkins, Ryan Simpkins, Greg Kinnear, Mark Hamill. We got the other part of the Good Neighbor crew with Kyle, Beck Bennett, and Nicholas Rutherford, and a little bit of Andy Samberg as well. So, Brigsby Bear, let's get into it. It is fun, it is light, it is unexpected, innocent, happy, turbulent, quirky. So no spoilers in this one. I'm going to try to give you this overview without spoiling anything. I did check out the trailer and made sure that... I just wanted to see what information they gave you there. And yeah, there's a lot that I can't say because, I kind of just go with whatever the official trailer has in there for spoilers. And so basically... a young man, played by Kyle Mooney, goes through a very traumatic experience, and he uses art, in this case the magic of filmmaking, to process his traumatic experience. And, he gains some friendships along the way, which is great. And really, I think it is a story about conviction and confidence in yourself. I mean, it's also just a story of friendship. I mentioned it's kind of a coming-of-age story, which is hard to describe without the spoilers, but it is about someone navigating their life and being exposed to a lot of different milestones and things in an accelerated time frame, which... there's a reason for that, but I can't tell you why. Not yet. So, I'm trying to think of what other details can I give you. So I mentioned it's kind of quirky. It's kind of like an indie-style film. If you've seen Little Miss Sunshine, I would say it's along the lines of that, where you've got some family drama stuff going on, but it is... very real. However, it's still heartwarming, and people pull together, and I mean, speaking of which, that also has Greg Kinnear in it. But they pull together, and good things happen, and it's very heartwarming and fun. And I mentioned that this is fun and it is light, and there's some pretty heavy stuff in it. But what I mean by it being light is the presentation of those things, because you could have the same occurrences happen, but just presented extremely differently. Whereas this, I think, it's a pretty light presentation of that. Again, a little quirky. It's definitely fun, and has really interesting and original moments. I would say the story in itself is pretty original, and I haven't seen anything like it before or presented in this way. And it's just, man, I just keep saying it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. However, it is not necessarily family-friendly for young children's. I think it is family-friendly in the same way that Little Miss Sunshine is for, like, tweens and over. Is kind of where I would give it a rating for age appropriateness or maturity appropriateness, I guess. I mentioned it being unexpected because there's just a massive twist in there. And it's a little turbulent because, I mean, as most movies are, they have conflict, and there's a little bit of, if you look at why can't I think of the name of the thing? Rising action, like a plot graph, you know what I mean? There's a little up and down and whatever else, but it's pretty accessible. It's not super incredibly deep or cerebral or needing of a lot of brain power. But yeah, I think that Kyle writing this role for himself was key in making this thing a little more unique and original. And again, with the vagaries of like a young man goes through traumatic experience, uses art to process it, gains some friendships along the way. Yeah, but it's got this really quirky indie feel to it, and again, it's very heartfelt and coming from a beautiful place, but there's a lot going on there, and one of those things is this notion of innocence within someone who is not a child anymore. And I think that there's a few scenarios where you can get that, and I'll leave that up to your imagination right now. I think that sometimes there's questions that get brought up that don't matter, in a sense, and the movie kind of makes you forget about those things, and you realize like that doesn't. I was kind of curious, but I guess that doesn't really matter. Basically, yeah, a band of misfits. You save the day. I guess that's another really concise way to put it. I think I'm going to skip down to like talking about target audience. I think if you like a feel good story, then you're in the right place. I don't think there's too much there that's like, again, it's pretty family friendly. There's like a thing or two there that is more, again, just showing some realness happen. But the message is pure, and it's not overly raunchy or anything. So if you're, if you can handle a feel-good story with some realness, then I think it's for you. I think that if you're a little on the nerdy side, then I would say you would get a little more out of it. If you are a creative, I think you would get a little more out of it. Importance and function, I think that there's a certain amount of importance when it comes to just like perseverance, and it's a great reflection of the human spirit and what that can do, what it could be. Again, very positive vibes throughout, and how people can endure through hardship. Again, I think there's a lot of serious stuff in here that I could pick apart more, and I mean, it is in some ways good fodder for conversation, but it definitely does not hit you over the head with it. It's not preachy, and it's not obvious either, some of these things that we could be talking about. So, I mean, depending on who you are and maybe who you watch it with, there could definitely be more conversation there about some of these more serious topics, but they are more for setup, and they don't necessarily, like, some of the real serious stuff, they don't like persist throughout in a way that other movies might fall back on that concept to carry the film, whereas this focuses on positive and healthy relationships in order to navigate through conflict, which I think is really beautiful. And it does it in a fun, quirky way, kind of an indie style film. And what I mean by that, I mean like Little Miss Sunshine, Juno, like there's a certain type of writing when I think of indie, and I don't know how to express that. I wish that I could think of more movies off the top of my head that were kind of that style, that indie style. But it's high on my shelf. It's definitely not top shelf for me, but it's high on my shelf. One of the reasons is that there's not many movies that have like a kind of corniness to them that get me there. Especially for something that's feel good. Like, I don't watch very many feel good movies. I don't enjoy very many feel good movies because they seem inauthentic. And this one is not. I think that it's wholly unique and original, and also very successful in evoking these feelings from the audience, and also having teachable moments and just like reflecting on things like friendship and creativity and even just perseverance through difficult times, and how to just be a good human. I think there's the lessons in that. How to just like not be a wiener. So it's very successful with that. So I put it high on my shelf because there's not many feel good movies that I would rewatch, and this is one of them that I would rewatch. That I have rewatched. I think I've watched it 3 times. And yeah, it does a really good job of being authentic and feel good, and you don't have to suspend your belief too much in the events that happen. It seems pretty realistic-ish. I mean, you suspend your belief a little bit, but again, I think that just like there is that fun and entertainment value that goes along with it, and that goes a long way. And what else can I say about this? This is really like it is also a celebration of underground nerd culture in a way, and how being involved in a niche group or subculture can really unify people. And I think that's really cool too, because I don't think that's represented that often. And here it's just kind of like a flavor or a hint. It's not like a movie where Comic-Con's involved or something like that. And now I would say that's not underground culture. I would say that there's a period of time where maybe certain nerdy things that we still consider nerdy, like, oh, Marvel comics and stuff, but now that is incredibly popular culture, incredibly gone away from being a subculture, and it is, again, trends change, things shift, culture moves, and it's interesting how things ebb and flow, just like fashion, right? There's certain things go out of fashion, and then 20 years later they come back, and it's really interesting to see with that. But anyway, Brigsby Bear, great film. If you need a pick-me-up, I would definitely check it out. Again, it's really a wonderful piece about just like, again, there's perseverance of the human spirit, but in an innocent way. So it's not like someone is met with an insurmountable task like climbing Everest and against all odds. It's not that kind of thing. It doesn't have that serious buildup. However, there are serious components to it, and it's just you're navigating it through your lens, but through the eyes of someone who doesn't really know what's happening a lot of the time, or doesn't know how to express it, and uses art to process things and figure it out. And I think it's very interesting, and I think you should watch it. And that's Brigsby Bear.